everyone, this is Neha from Edureka and I welcome you all to the session on Android Activity Lifecycle. Let's have a look at the agenda for the session. First, I will give you a brief introduction to Android. Next, I will explain you all about the Android Activity Lifecycle. Then, I will show a demo to understand how exactly it works. And finally, I will wrap up the session by telling you some of the advantages of Android. I hope you found agenda interesting. Now, without wasting any further time, let's get straight into the module. First, let's understand what Android is. Android is a mobile operating system developed by Google. It is based on the Linux kernel and designed primarily for touchscreen mobile devices like smartphones and tablets. And Android's kernel is based on one of the Linux kernel long-term support branches. And Google has changed the life of everyone by launching a product that improves the mobile experience for everyone. Android helps in understanding your taste and needs by giving various features like having wallpapers, themes, and launchers which completely change the look and feel of your device interfaces. So you might be wondering, Android is such a nice operating system, so why do you need it? It is the most successful and powerful mobile operating system in the market today. So Android is essential because it is open source, it has a customizable operating system, it reduces the cost of development and overall complexity, it has a larger community and developer reach, and it also supports inter-app integration, high success ratio, and it has a rich development environment in which the variety of applications can be developed. Now let's move further and understand what is Android Activity Lifecycle and how exactly it works. So Android Activity Lifecycle is managing the state of activity like when it starts, stops, user using, not in the front of user, and no more longer. So all these states are managed by callback methods in action. You can override those methods and can do a particular operation to do the best output of your application. Like your application is going in the background and you want to save some data. In this case, you have to know all about the Android Activity Lifecycle. So this is how your activity lifecycle looks like, and this is the flow of how exactly it follows. So you might be thinking like, why use lifecycle activity callback methods? The answer to that question is that if you do a good implementation of lifecycle callback methods in your Android app, it will avoid many problems like if the user files the form and suddenly rotate the screen, so all the filled data will be lost. It's not good. And Android limited resources can crash your app if you didn't release it on time. And losing the user's progress if they have to leave your app and return it to a later time. So these are some of the problems that can be avoided by the use of Android Activity Lifecycle callback methods. So basically it has 6 states, that is created, started, resumed, paused, stopped, and destroyed. And it has 7 methods like onCreate, onStart, onResume, then onPause, onStop, onDestroy, and onRestart. So these are the 7 methods that an Android Activity Lifecycle has. Now let me tell you some of the practical situations like what happens when activity is going through the different states. So for example, when you open the app, it will call onCreate, onStart, and onResume methods. These 3 methods are initiated when you open an app. So next situation, when a back button is pressed or when you exit from the app, which methods will be called? The methods that will be called when you press the back button or exit the app is onPaused, onStop, and onDestroy. So when you press the home button, again it will call onPause and onStop. You have not closed the app, but just that you have exited from the app, that is the reason it is not calling onDestroy. And it's just calling onPause and onStop. Okay. So the next situation is like when you open the app, that is another app from notification bar or open settings, then it will call onPause and onStop. So again, when user presses phone's answer button, it will give onPause. After you end the call, it will again give onResume. So suppose say you're working with your WhatsApp or your Facebook app, and all of a sudden you get a call. So what happens? That activity that which you're working will be paused, right? That is the reason when you press a phone answer button, it will give on pause. Once you end the call, So obviously it will be resumed, because again you will get the same screen you was using before you attended the call. So that is the reason it will give on resume. So when any phone is ringing and user is in the app, say that your phone is ringing and you're in the app. So first it will give on pause, then on resume. When you off the phone screen and your app is running at the background, then it will give on pause and on stop. It will never call destroy unless and until you exit from the app. So when your screen is turned back on, again it will give on restart, on start, and on resume. So create and destroy are the methods when you first launch the app, and destroy is when you exit from the app. But the within methods like on start and on resume will happen in the every refresh or every activity whenever you start the phone or you end the call, all that. And on pause, on stop will occur when something pops up in the middle of the task and you have to attend that task first when compared to this. So that are the scenarios when you will be using on pause and on stop. So when you resume back, it will go from on restart, on start, and on resume. So this is how it works. So now you know which methods are being called in some scenarios, right? In some practical situations. So now let's understand lifecycle callbacks in a detailed manner. So what does onCreate does? When the Android system first creates the activity, it will call onCreate. And this is used to initialize the activity. For example, you can create the user interface. So this is what onCreate does. Now talking about onStart, when the activity enters the started state, the system invokes this callback. The onStart call makes the activity visible to the user as the app prepares for the activity to enter the foreground and becomes interactive. Now talking about onResume, when the activity enters the resumed state, it comes to the foreground and then the system invokes the onResume callback. This is a state in which the app interacts with the user. That's what I told you, right? It navigates to the activity. Next you have onPause. The system calls this method as the first indication that the user is leaving your activity. It indicates that the activity is no longer in the foreground, though it may be still visible if the user is in the multiple window mode. So what is onStop? When your activity is no longer visible to the user, it means it has entered the stop state and the system invokes the onStop callback. This may occur, for example, when a newly launched activity covers the entire screen. If something pops up in between, then it will give onStop. And from the stop state, the activity either comes back to interact with the user or the activity is finished running and goes away. If the activity comes back, the system invokes onRestart. And talking about onDestroy, Android system invokes onDestroy method before the activity is destroyed. Activity might be destroyed because of the activity's finishing, that is due to the user completely dismissing the activity or due to finish being called on the activity, or the system is temporarily destroying the activity due to a configuration change such as device rotation or multi-window mode, or it can be a memory issue in the app. So these are some of the callbacks that are invoked in each and every situation based on the activity that is being performed. So there are also callbacks, for saving and retrieving the data as well. Now let me tell you with the help of an example. So I have created activity over here. I have to just click on File, New, Project, choose the language. I'm using Kotlin. You can either use Java or Kotlin. It depends on how you're flexible with these programming languages. And I have activity main.xml. So your project structure looks like this. If you wish to know more about this, you can check out the videos on Android tutorial and also on Kotlin Android tutorial. You will understand how to configure your projects and everything. So this is how your project structure looks like. I have main activity.xml in the layout. So here is where I'm going to create the layout. So this is the simple activity screen. I've just taken the text and I've given text. I'm not giving any button because I just want to show how these 7 callbacks and how the different states in an activity is being executed. So if I have to go back to text, you can see it comprises of a text view with the layout, and the text will be hello world. If you want, you can change this, and it is in the center, which implies it has all the bottom, left, right, and top properties being given as parent. So you just have to configure, create an empty activity and just write a text. So the main thing is here, that is main activity.kt. So this is nothing but your class file in which you have created all the states and called the methods, that is your callbacks for every state. So first, let me explain you the program. So I have created a class called main activity and I'm overriding a function called onCreate. I told you something, right? There are more callback methods that is added in the activity lifecycle for saving and retrieving the data. So one among them is saved instance state, which means your activity begins to stop. The system calls the method save instance state so that your activity can save the state information to an instance state bundles. Okay. So it means whenever I launch the activity and I close it, it will save the state. Next, I'm overriding each and every function. The first one will be onCreate. I'm creating the set content view, that is r dot the layout. This is the layout. So for setting the content view, I'll refer to this activity main. And now I want to use a print statement. This is like your, printing statement. I'll use a simple print statement and give app state on create. Okay. So it means whenever the application is created or launched for the first time, or when you open an app, it will say on create. Now you might be thinking, what is this toast? This toast is used to display the on create state on the application itself. So this statement is used to display the on create state in the terminal or in the console. This will help us to launch the on create state in the app itself. I'll show you how. So the next one will be on start. It will print app state as on start when the application gets started, and again it will print using this toast. Again it will print in the app itself. So when I'm overriding on resume function, again the same thing. It will resume here and it will show the resume state even in the app. And there is on stop, same thing. On pause, on restart, when the application is restarted, it will say on restart both in the terminal and in the app. That is the main purpose of using toast. And again on destroy. So this is very simple. I have just created like this. So if you don't understand Kotlin, you can go back and check out the Kotlin full course and the tutorial video on Kotlin programming language, and you can get hands-on on that. And if you wish to know in Java, you can Google the code and it's very simple. So instead of using override like this, you can use @override annotation, and you can call the methods based on the type of the modifier. It is like public, protected, private, and you can define a function. It will be very similar. There won't be much issues with that, and it's very simple. So these are the packages that you need, and this is how you need to code your program. So when I hit the run, I have already created a virtual device, so I'll use the same one and I'll click OK. So you can see that the Gradle build is running. You can see the emulator has launched. It's booting up now. You can see that the build was successful, and it has also configured the build, calculated the task graph, and run the task. Now it's waiting for the Android to start the apps, and it's starting now. So your Android device has started up, and now it will launch your application in a while. So you can see on create, on start, and on resume states have been executed now, right? So you just saw when your app was launched, it said on create, on start, and on resume because the application is launched for the first time. So if I hit the home button, what will happen? It said on pause state. And on stop also, because I have exited from the screen. So when again I hit the screen, it said on restart, on start, and on resume. So this is how all the states can be executed. So again I'll click on some other activity and it said on pause and on stop, right? So this is exactly how it works. When I again open the activity, it said on resume, on start, and everything. So that's the main use of using toast. And with the print statement, it will be executed here only. I'll show you how. When I exit the app, it will tell on destroy. Because I've exited the app, that is the reason. So you can see it is launching the main activity over here. It will load the state. So you can see the connection has established and your app has started, right? So here at least you know how the state works. Like it will first tell on create, on start and on resume on the screen. But here also it does. Let me show you that. So first when the app was created, it said app state on create, on start and on resume. That is the purpose of using the sprint statement. If you don't wish to display the output on the terminal, and if you just want to display the states and the callbacks in your application, you can do that. So when I hit the pause button, it said on pause. Okay. Now again, here also you can see on pause and on stop got executed. Now, when I open from the recent apps and I'll hit the app, it said on restart, on start and on resume. Yes, so here also it's telling on restart, on start and on resume. The way how the states are being executed in the application is the same way how the states are being executed in your terminal with the help of the sprint statement. Now I want to close this app. See, again it said on pause and on stop, right? So see, again the same thing was executed here also. Now I want to open it from the tab and I want to close this. See, it said on destroy and the application is terminated. And the first it said application has started. See, it's telling launching the main activity and the application has started. And then you close the app, displayed the state on destroy and the application was terminated. So these are the different methods and states of your Android activity lifecycle, and this is how it actually works. I hope you understood how each and every state is being defined and how the callbacks are instantiated by doing some actions and operations on your activity or your application, and what is the use of toast and how to display it in your terminal as well. So this is all about Android activity lifecycle, and I hope you understood this. Now let's move further and have a look at some of the advantages of using Android. So first is low investment and high ROI. So Android comparatively has a low barrier to entry and it provides freely its software development kit, that is SDK, to the developer community, which minimizes the development and licensing cost. The development cost can be divided into 3 stages, that is application development, testing and hardware cost for testing and deploying the Android mobile application. The next one, it is open source. So you can get the open source advantage from licensing royalty free and the best technology framework offered by the Android community. The architecture of Android SDK is open source, which means you can actually interact with the community for the upcoming expansions of Android mobile application development. This is what makes the Android platform very attractive for handset manufacturers and wireless operators, which results in a faster development of Android-based phones and better opportunities for developers to earn more. So that's the magic of using Android. Next, it is easy to integrate. So if you're looking for a complex technical customization and integration of a web app or just a smartphone application you already have, yes, then an Android application can be the right solution for you. The entire platform is ready for customization. You can integrate and tweak the mobile app according to your business need. Android is the best mobile platform between the application and processes architecture. Most of the platforms allow background process that helps you to integrate the apps. Next, multiple sales channel. Unlike other mobile platforms, Android app development services can be deployed in different ways. You don't have to rely on a single market to distribute your applications. You can use your third-party application marketplace, but you can also form your own distribution and sales channel. Applications for multiple markets to develop new application stores and also place it on your website. You build it, you publish it. With your choice of promotional strategy, you can reach your end users through multiple channels. Next, it has very easy adoption. Android applications are scripted in Java language with the help of a rich set of libraries. Anyone can build Android applications with the knowledge of Java or Kotlin. According to a recent survey, a lot of Java and Kotlin programmers find it very easy to adopt and script the code for mobile applications in the Android operating system. It is now very beneficial for Java developers to transition the code script into a mobile application and can also implement Android application development services in the app. Now the last advantage is Google Play is more user-friendly. Both the Apple App Store and the Android's Google Play offer over 1 million downloadable apps. However, the Apple App Store has restrictions such as mandatory iTunes interface and a requirement that downloaded movies can be played on Apple devices. But Android is open source, it is freely available. You can use anything without the cost for the apps that you're using. So that's all about the advantages of using Android. And with this, we come to an end of the session. I hope you understood this. If you have any queries or if you wish to have the code that is being used in the video, you can comment your email IDs in the comment section. And if you have any queries also, you can just comment your queries and we will revert back with the solution. I hope you understood what is Android Activity Lifecycle. So that was all about the session. Thank you for attending and have a nice day.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!